Hey guys, it's Becky with Design Bundles, and I'm super excited to come to you today and show you a little bit about designing for sublimation. Now, this is probably one of the most common questions that I get talking about sublimation. How do you set up files? Now, I'm going to be honest with you, we are not looking at this from an artist standpoint. Okay, we are working with clip art, we are combining images, we're adding text. We still have a lot of really neat features to go over with you. I'm designing in Silhouette Studio, but don't forget that a lot of these concepts will carry over into whatever software you're working with, okay? So don't let that scare you off. Go ahead and join us and let me know what you think.
Okay, so like I said, we are going to do our designing in Silhouette Studio, but these principles, as far as how we are going to design, should be pretty applicable in whatever software you choose. I'm a big advocate of Silhouette Studio if you do not already have a program picked out, so it's free, just something to think about. You can download it and follow along, but we're going to talk about setting up our page first. On the right-hand side, there is a page setup panel, and here you can select your machine, none, unless you're going to cut on your Cameo, but we're talking about setting up designs. So we're going to say machine none, cutting mat none. Media size, you can leave it as a default if you want. I just usually start out with a 12 by 12. If I know I'm setting this up to do some printing right away, then I can change the media size to be the size of the paper that I'm going to print, like 13 by 19. So all of that is just up to you. All right, now let's talk about bringing in files. You can go to File and Open. And what that is going to do is it will open a new tab. And that's not usually what I want unless I'm starting a whole new project. What I'm interested in doing is I'm going to go to File and Merge. And from File and Merge, I can go to my downloads is usually where I store things. And I can scroll through and I can bring in any type of files that I want to. Okay, but another cool thing that I can do is if I use my File Explorer, I already have, this is a bundle that I bought from Design Bundles, and I mean, naturally, I really love it. And I've downloaded it, and there are a couple reasons why you kind of want to come in this way. First of all, you can drag and drop any of your files or pieces of the files that you want to use. Also, in these bundles, you get a PNG that gives you all of the, it's kind of like a guide. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. So this is a guide that opens up and it literally gives me a little thumbnail image of all of the files that I'm working with. Now, you may be asking, how is this even relevant? Well, number one, because it helps me narrow down what I want to use out of this bundle. And number two, it gives me the name of the file. That way I can just search for it. And I don't have to go folder after folder after folder looking for the name of these files that I want to use, okay? So let's talk about some differences in the designs that you're looking at. Now, some designs, they come ready to print. You just throw them in your software, size them, print them out, okay? And let's take a look at one of those. So this one in particular is Whisper. That's the keyword that I got out of it. So I'm going to type that in, and then I can just drag and drop this into the software. I can position that anywhere I want, but the reason that I say is this is one that you can just drag and drop and print is because it's basically a completed design. Now, you know, I'm not saying that you couldn't add to it, but this definitely isn't a design that you can easily take away anything from it. All right, so I would size this, mirror it, and print it out, and it would be a finished project. Now, I know you're going to be asking me, Becky, what does this have to do with designing? Well, nothing. Other than just knowing that this is the easiest way to set up sublimation designs. And if this is what works for you, nobody is judging you for that, okay? If you do not have time or the will to want to learn how to set up designs on your own, that is a-okay. Now, you can still watch along because we are going to show you some tips for everything in between. All right, we're going to go from here all the way up to combining multiple elements. What we're not going to talk about is setting up completely custom artwork, but if you're the type of person, if you are an artist at heart and you are drawing your own artwork, doing things on Procreate, you can still bring those elements in and combine them in the same ways that we are showing you here. So I just tried to give you as much information as I can, but I just want to be very upfront that this is not going to be, let's make this beautiful watercolor and hand draw our own flowers. Okay, so just letting you know, we're working within what we have. So this is the easiest that it will ever be. You are going to open this up, print, and press it onto your item. Now let's talk about, there are some items that they're designed to bring into the software and add very minimal customization. All right, so let's open back up our File Explorer. And let's see, I want to take a look at these Christmas ornaments. All right, so this is a baby's first Christmas ornament, and it is really awesome. I really like it a lot. It comes almost complete, okay? Basically, all you're gonna do is add a little bit of text here. Now, if you want to add a monogram, hey, that's great, let's add a monogram. I'm gonna create some text, and I can use any monogram I want. I can use any type of circle, whether this is going to be a feminine monogram, a masculine monogram, because this ornament could go either way, so I really like it a lot. So let's say, and you don't even have to use a full monogram. You can actually just put an initial in there. Or you could, if it's a small name, you can put the name in there. So, you do have a lot of ability here to customize. So what I'm gonna do first, I always like to be able to pull in colors that are already in the image. Now this is in Silhouette Studio, but I believe that most designing softwares have this. If I go to my fill panel, I have this Eyedropper tool. And if I click on that, it will let me select any color that I can click on with my tool here. So if I hover over this green, I can click on that and it will bring that exact green over. Now I'm going to change my line color to transparent. It would not actually print that line, but I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it when I'm designing, and I think it makes the colors look weird. All right, so I can put this little monogram in there, and this is pretty much a completed design. If I wanted to, I could turn it just like the candy canes are. And then, like I said, you could even do just an initial. Okay, so very, very easy to customize. Let's take another look at one of those. These Christmas snow truck designs. All right, some of them come with text, but two of them in particular, they come blank. So what that means, it does come with a circle. Sometimes that's kind of hard to tell because of the white on the white background, but it does come with a white. And what I can do here, that's throwing me off. I don't know about you guys. I'm gonna put this on the gray. What I can do here is the same thing. I can come in and I can add some text. So I can say, let's do a family memorial ornament. So I can say Dyke's Family Christmas. All right, let's just pick out a matching color. I do try to stay away from black, so I'm going to choose just one of the darker colors that is already in here. And again, I'm going to change that transparent or that line to transparent. Okay, if that's not dark enough, I'm going to show you a little bit about that. Let's select a font and we will center it. Okay, so there we go. Dyke's Family Christmas. And then we will just say, hey, 2020. Ooh, you know what? Let's make it a destination Christmas. So where did we go for Christmas in 2020? Maybe we went to, how about the Smoky Mountains? So maybe not super exciting for you guys, but one Christmas, I am going to load up the family and maybe even make them leave their electronics at home. All right, so put that at the bottom. All right, super cute, love it, everybody loves it. It's great, and everybody can take it home with them and hang it on their tree, right? All right, glad I made my point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my center tool. Now that is going to be on my transform panel. The very first icon here is align, and I can align horizontally. Okay, now you may be saying, Becky, I'm not super crazy that this doesn't stand out more. Hey, you know what? I have the answer for you today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use an offset. Now, anytime that you are adding text to an image and you want it to stand out more, offset is a great answer for that. So I'm going to choose offset. Now, my offsets tend to range in like the 0.05, 0.07 area. Let me show you why. So I'm going to do 0.05. I'm just kidding. I'm going to do 0.07 for you guys because we have to remember that this is going to be an ornament, so it's going to be small. I'm going to shrink this down. All right, so I'm going to apply. I'm going to use my little tool up here, use the group icon, and then I'm going to color this in white, and I'm going to change that line color to transparent. Now look at the difference that that made. I really, really am a big fan of doing offsets. So then I'm saying, hey, I love that. It's great. You made a great ornament, Becky. Here's a big pat on the back. Group it all together. Size it down. Okay, that's always important to remember. You want to size it down to your project. And then I would be able to, what are these usually, about 3 inches? Let's say 3 inches. And then I would just fill up my page and I would print these and press these for everybody because I'm an amazing family member like that, right? All right, cool. So we talked about minor customization. We talked about just opening and printing. Let's talk about combining elements. Now, combining elements means that I'm going to take multiple images that I have purchased or found or created and use them together. So I'm going to go back to my File Explorer so I can do the drag and drop. And let's see, I know that I want gnomes. That's what I want. Okay. Now, you know, hey, some people like a little animal print for their Christmas. I personally love it. So we're going to bring that in. Okay, and then I know that this bundle comes with some animal prints. There we go. We have some awesome glitter animal print backgrounds. Okay, so I can drag and drop one of these over here. And it may take me a minute to decide which one I want. That's okay. That one actually doesn't match perfectly. Let's see. I don't know. I'm a little matchy-matchy. That one looks much better, much better. Okay, so I now have 2 similar elements. So let's talk about how to combine them. All right, first of all, even if I send this to back, which is what I'm doing now, all right, I lose a lot of the detail of my gnomes, right? All right, let's put these in the middle so you can see them all together. There we go. But now let's talk about changing the transparency. So I'm going to go to my fill panel, and if I start increasing my transparency, my background just kind of fades away. And this is a really neat way to add a background without letting it take over your image. All right, so let's try to remember that. Add a background without letting it take over your image. Okay, now let's go back, because another thing that we can do, oh, move the wrong one. There we go, is try to get a good offset of our gnomes. Okay, now let's hit the pause button real quick. I'm not convinced that this is the best image to do this with because of the white and the beards, but let's give it a try. So I'm going to trace the gnomes. So I'm going to draw this box around all of my little gnomies here. All right, I'm going to reduce my scale, and I want to slowly increase my threshold. Now you see how I get a thin line around the beard? That's good, but let's see if we can do better. Let's increase this threshold. There we go. All right, we got them all. We're gonna hit trace. We're not gonna press our luck. We're gonna hit trace. Now I'm going to, this is a keyboard shortcut, so you wanna write this down. On my keyboard, I'm on a PC, I'm gonna use Control Left. It gives me a duplicate of that image. Now I know you're gonna ask me, Becky, why are you doing that? Well, I promise there's an answer, because I don't actually want the offset. No, let me rephrase that. I don't actually want the outline of these. I want to create an offset. So with the outline selected, I'm going to choose offset. Now remember, we liked 0.07. That ended up being a good offset. I'm going to choose apply, group it together, and then I can go in and I can actually delete the original. Okay, I promise this is going to make sense. We're going to apply the same principles that we just did on the text, and we're going to do that. I'm doing Control right, and we're going to do that with these gnomes. All right, now, here, let's group them together just for good measure. When I slide that background back there, I have that differentiation between the gnomes and the background. Now, I personally, oops, not the gnomies, I would still increase my background transparency. I would still fade that out a little bit. But can we just say, how darn cute is that? Okay, I'm in love with that. Now let's take it a step farther. You know what, let's add some text. We're gonna say eat, drink, and you notice I like to split a lot of my stuff up. Eat, drink, and be merry. Now, Becky, why did you split those up? Well, guys, that is because sometimes I like to change the font individually. And if I already start off with different text boxes, then I can change the font all willy-nilly and not have to worry about it. Eat, add in my comma. All right, eat, drink, and all right, let's come up with a different text for this. Can we use, ooh, no, that's ugly. We don't want to do that. Let's see. Let's find a fun font, guys. Okay, so I found a fun font, but now that means I don't like this font, so starting over on this one. Let's see, I'm sure I can find something that I like. This, because I have that nice script font, I kind of want something with some hard corners. Let's see. I mean, it's not like I have any fonts to choose from here, you know? It's just such a hard choice. All right, let's stick with that. And then with my ampersand, I also usually like to find something really fun for that. Let's see, I have a few. It'll just depend on if I remember. Will Becky remember? Nope, that's not the one. All right, that one's pretty cute. I like that one. Okay. So we're going to say eat, drink, and be merry. And just one last thing I'm going to do, because I moved those, I'm going to group those together, and then I can decide, do I want the ampersand up here? Nope, I do like it down here. All right. All right, Becky, make a decision. There we go. I like that. What do you guys think? Do you like that too? Maybe. We might like that. Okay. So now, you notice I didn't have to weld anything. So if you are a Cricut user or a Silhouette user, you might be wondering why, but that's because I don't have to. I don't have to weld because I'm not gonna cut this, I'm gonna print this. So I'm gonna select those together and center it. And there we go. So now my file is centered and looks really cute. If I wanted to, I could, not the gnomies, come on guys, you guys have to stay where you belong. I could increase the background to incorporate everything. All right, if I don't really like that, because you know I don't really like that, I can rotate it. There we go. And now make it a little bigger. Does that help things out a little bit? That kind of does. It makes it a little better. So you know what that means. It means that I need to do an offset of my text too. So let's knock that out real quick. Offset 0.07, not 0.7, 0.07. Apply, group, fill, line color. There we go. And now, I mean, we have a completed design. And all we did was we took that background, changed the transparency, did a couple offsets, added some text. And I know I'm saying that like that is just all willy-nilly, so please don't throw things at me. But I mean, this is the basics of setting up your own designs. Now, I say your own designs loosely because obviously we didn't design any of this, but I'm taking these gnomes, which are always adorable, and just kind of enhancing that through using a pattern background and adding some text. So let's also talk about one more thing, because we can also add a few more not the gnomes. I'm going to create a duplicate right here. And let's see, I'm going to do, there we go. I thought I had a heart in here. I'm going to draw a heart shape, and I'm going to get rid of that transparency. And I am going to show you one last trick. I have one last trick up my sleeve. I'm going to do some duplicates of these hearts. Okay, so I want a cheetah heart. Now guys, I'm doing this with a heart, but you know, a lot of your sublimation dealers will give you templates. So like that baby's first ornament that we just looked at, you can get the template for that ornament most of the time from the same place that you buy it from. But then it's like, well, how do I set up this design? Well, good news, it's really easy. You're gonna take that template and take your design, or in our case, we're taking a pattern. I'm going to use my drag box. I select the pattern, and then, you know what, let's create a duplicate of the pattern too. I select the pattern, and then I select the heart, and I have a modify panel, and I'm gonna choose crop. All right, boom. Now we can use these to accent, which we don't really have to. I think there's quite enough cheetah print in there. But if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to add some more buffalo plaid, all right, because I mean, can you have too much buffalo plaid? I don't think so. You can do that now. You can fill your text with patterns that are going to match, you know, whatever you need to do. And you can now fill your templates with that pattern too. So hopefully that makes sense. I am going to wrap it up. I think this is a pretty good handle on the basics for setting up designs for beginners. Hopefully you learned a few things. We talked about opening and printing. We talked about adding the personalization on images that are set up that way. And then last but not least, we set up our own Eat, Drink, and Be Married Nomies for what I'm going to say Christmas. I mean, I guess it could be Valentine's Day, but we're going to go with Christmas. And now I need to put this on a shirt. So, all right, guys, I know you have questions. I know you do, and that's fine because you should always have questions. But, you know, just make sure you leave them in the comments. Leave them in the comments, and we will talk about them, and hopefully we'll plan some follow-up videos. I'm going to quit rambling and go ahead and do the wrap-up.
So how did you feel? It's surprisingly simple setting up your files for sublimation. It's all about what I feel is having the vision of what you want it to look like when it's done. Okay, so, you know, don't be afraid to experiment, you know, spend some of your free time just playing around with different designs and, you know, check out those tools. Silhouette Studio is actually a very robust software, and I think you'll be surprised at everything you can do in it, so. All right, guys, well, I know you have questions. Make sure you leave them below. I'm happy to help you any way I can. And don't forget the questions lead to follow-up videos. So if there's something that you want to see, you know, help us help you, okay? So leave those in the comments, like I said. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we always have a lot of great ideas for you right around the corner. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.